Bezrat Hashem, Mincha today is going to be 7:25. Please be on time. The Halacha tells us, we're going to start new siman, that a person is supposed to leave, when he eats a seudah, when he eats a meal, he's supposed to leave crumbs of bread, a little bit of bread on the table. He shouldn't remove, before the Birkat Hamazon, the bread, and clean the table and clean all the crumbs. Why? Because the Zohar writes, and the Shulchan Aruch brings us down as well, that a person who says Birkat Hamazon and there's nothing on the table, meaning there's no bread on the table, eno ro'eh siman beracha. He doesn't see beracha with that Birkat Hamazon, with that meal. And the explanation is that in the Torah, anytime you want the bracha to take effect, it has to be on something. So if, for example, the Torah tells us a story about Elisha, that he went over to a woman, and this woman was poor, and she didn't have anything, and he says, is there anything that you have in the house that the bracha could reside on? And she looked, and she looked, and she looked, until she found. And then the bracha was able to reside on that and expand it, because the language of bracha in itself means an expansion. It has to be an expansion of something. If there's nothing for it to expand on, then it won't be able to expand. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself creates yesh me'ayin. For in this world, there has to be something. So therefore, one should have at the very least crumbs, and to not clean it up, to make sure it's not cleaned up before Birkat Hamazon. Afterwards, you can go ahead and you can already remove the crumbs, put them together, b'derech kavod, put in a plastic bag and throw it out. But otherwise, you should not go ahead and you have to leave it for the Birkat Hamazon. The one thing that one has to be careful to not do is, the Gemara says you shouldn't, let's say if you don't have any crumbs or something else, you shouldn't go ahead and take from the counter and say, okay, I'm going to take a loaf of bread and bring it to the table. That, the Gemara says, is very similar. It resembles avodah zarah, because that's what they used to do. They used to bring onto the table in order to say their blessings after the meal. What are you bringing bread? You didn't eat this bread. What are you bringing? So it has to be something that was already on the table that you say Birkat Hamazon on. But to bring from the outside and to put it onto the table, you're not supposed to do that. Unless in the middle of the meal you went and you brought something and you were eating from it, and then it's on the table, so it's already there.